Am I the a-hole for threatening to expose my dad's affair with his wife to get him to stop fighting for me to be at his house? I, 16 male, was 8 when my parents divorced because my dad was cheating on my mom with his current wife. My dad actually took me to her house a few times to watch her kid so they could cheat. She was married too. When the affairs got exposed, my dad and the ex-husband had to do DNA testing on her kid. The ex was the father, but he took off. My mom ended her marriage to my dad. I have hated my dad ever since, and I hate his wife too. They got married and had kids together, and they tried to make us one happy family. But I never wanted any part of it, and life's always hell when I'm around. I don't like or respect either one of them. They both know it. I will not help them, even if they only want something small. And for the whole time my parents have been broken up, I've wanted to live only with my mom. I was in therapy until a couple of months ago, but it only made me realize how much I want to go no contact with my dad. He always fights for me though. The judge didn't listen to me in court either. Being 16 doesn't give me a say in any of this. And my mom could lose custody if I refuse to go to my dad's house. After court the last time, my dad told me I needed to forgive and move on. He told me I'm hurting the other kids by making it so clear I don't want to be around the family. I told him I'm not forgiving. I told him he was nasty to bring me into his affair, and his wife was nasty for thinking she was anything to me other than the trash he cheated with. He told me if she's trash, he must be too, and I said yes. He and his wife both tried after that to change my mind, and she told me how much the kids see me as a real brother and would be crushed to know I'm indifferent to them. I told her that was a problem for her and my dad to deal with. They told me I don't get to stop going to the house just because I'm angry, and my dad promised he wouldn't stop fighting. So I asked them how they'd feel about their co-workers knowing about the affair. They have co-workers over most Friday nights. The co-workers have no idea how my dad and his wife met or about the affair. I told them if my dad didn't let me go, I'd let the co-workers know, and I didn't care if anyone else heard. They told me I couldn't, but I told my dad I was serious, and that's how badly I want to be done with him. He let me go back home that night, and I haven't been there since. But he's whining to my mom about it all the time. She had to mute him because he keeps texting her repeatedly. I saw a few, and he's saying I went too far trying to expose them like that. He even got my aunt, his sister, to tell me how I went too far and risked hurting the kids the most and costing them their jobs or whatever. I don't know how that'd work, but that's what my aunt said. She told me I should have tried to be more mature about it. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Kind of sweet for Fafo to come from your 16-year-old son. Make sure the new custody arrangement is formalized so your mom doesn't get into trouble. And enjoy your dad-free life. I agree with this. But also, I would be petty, and when I turned 18, I would still tell everyone anyway. Once I knew my mom couldn't get into any trouble regarding custody. Not the a-hole. Why should it be a secret how they met? I mean, if there's nothing to be ashamed about, right? What's the big deal that a DNA test had to be done on one of her kids, right? They should own their history. My aunt told me I should have tried to be more mature about it. Huh? Tell your aunt or whoever else that you did try to be mature about it, that you wanted space from your dad for your own mental health. But your dad refused to be mature about it. Your dad was selfish before. He's selfish now. All he cares about is all he can get for himself, not what's best for you. Not the a-hole. Stand firm for yourself. Proud of you for handling this stuff so well at such a young age. Seriously, be more mature. I'm 16. I'm not mature. You are the adult. You should be more mature. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not giving my dad's cabin to my stepbrother because he is going through a rough time? Last year, I, 28 female, lost my dad. It was sudden and honestly, still really hard to talk about. He wasn't a flashy guy or super outgoing. He was quiet, kind, and preferred the simple things. One of those simple things was the cabin he built out in the woods, about 2 hours from where I live now. It's nothing luxurious, just a small place with no Wi-Fi, a wood stove, creaky floors, and a bunch of his personal touches. But it was ours. We used to go there all the time when I was a kid, just the two of us, fishing, reading. working on little projects. It was our retreat from everything. When he passed, he left the cabin to me in his will. No confusion, no family drama around that part. He made it very clear that it was for me, probably because he knew how much it meant to us both. Now for context, my mom remarried when I was 15. Her new husband, Ken, had a son, Luke, 31 male. Luke and I have never been close. He was older, arrogant, and always acted like my dad was beneath him. He made jokes about the way dad lived, off the grid, quiet, not into social events or material things. Luke used to call him the hermit with a hammer and would roll his eyes if I ever talked about our cabin trips. He hated being outdoors. Never once came with us to the cabin. Never wanted to. Fast forward to now. Luke is having a rough time. He lost his job, his fiancée dumped him, and he had to move back in with Ken and my mom. I really do feel for him. That's a lot to go through. But now my mom has decided that my dad's cabin would be the perfect way for Luke to start over. She actually asked me to give Luke the cabin, not let him borrow it, not help him out temporarily, give it to him. Her exact words were, "He needs it more than you. You hardly go there anymore, and he just needs a place to figure things out. Like it's a spare bedroom and not a place full of memories with the one parent I just lost." I thought it was a joke at first. I laughed and told her, "No, absolutely not. That cabin is mine. It was Dad's. Luke didn't even like him." And I meant that. He never respected my dad, and now I'm supposed to hand over the one thing I have left of him? That's when Ken stepped in, calling me cold and selfish. Said I should be family first and think about how hard Luke has it right now. Then Luke himself texted me like he was doing me a favor. Literally said, "I'll take the cabin off your hands if it's too much for you to keep up with." Like, what? And now, they're all icing me out. My mom won't return my calls unless it's to ask if I've reconsidered. Luke made this dramatic, passive-aggressive post online about how some people would rather hoard property than help someone heal. I assume that was aimed at me. Honestly, I'm starting to feel torn. I know Luke's life is a mess right now, but this isn't just a property to me. It's my dad. It's memories and peace and healing that I'm still working through. Giving it up would feel like losing him all over again. But now I'm the villain in their eyes, the heartless daughter, the greedy one. They've made it really clear that they think I'm being selfish, and as much as I want to stay firm, the guilt tripping is really starting to wear me down. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give Luke the cabin my dad built and left to me, just because he's going through a hard time now? Seriously, buy cameras, as the next step will be your stepbrother moves in anyway, and lies to the police telling them you gave permission. Call the authorities ahead of time and or flat out tell your mom Luke will get his butt arrested if he tries to squat in the cabin. As someone else mentioned, if you give it to him, he will just sell it. This right here, it happens more often than you want to believe. The last thing you want to deal with is squatters' rights. Yeah, I didn't think it would get to that point, but now I'm kind of freaked out. Might actually need to get cameras. Not sure if cops would even care though. Supposedly, you are supposed to buy no trespassing signs and take photos or video of yourself holding a newspaper to prove the date. You're informing the authorities so they can have it on record that you own the cabin and are not selling it ever. That way, if your stepbrother tries to lie, they will already know it's BS. This happened to someone else on Reddit, but it was the brothers-in-law, I think. They broke the gate and broke into the cabin. Because the person that owned it already pre-warned the police, they all got arrested. If you don't go there that often, you should probably get cameras anyway, just to make sure no one tries to move in. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my stepdad he's not sharing father of the bride duties with my dad at my wedding? I'm 27 female getting married in a few months, and my dad is walking me down the aisle. We're planning a 4-person dance with me and him, and my fiancé and his mom. As soon as my fiancé and I decided this was what we wanted, I was upfront with my stepdad about the fact that he would not be given any father of the bride duties. I knew he'd expect and want them, so I wanted to get ahead of it, so he and my mom couldn't accuse me of blindsiding them or him. He's been with my mom since I was a few months old. He always saw me and my brother, 29, as his kids. but we always saw Dad as our only dad. There were a lot of fights that were kept from me and my brother as kids over this. My stepdad wanted Dad to make space for him to do some of the dad things. My dad didn't want to give up any time or moments with us that he had, since he already lost the ability to see us all the time. Mom was always presenting it like stepdad was our primary dad, but she and Dad shared equal custody, and my dad did more than my stepdad. He worked extra hours when we were with Mom, so he could leave early and be with us after school. He was involved in school, in extracurriculars, in our friendships, and he showed up to extracurricular events or school events even if it was Mom's time, which was allowed, by the way. That stuff was seen as open to anyone. Dad's the only one who came to everything. My stepdad isn't a bad guy, but his wanting to be more to us than he is has led to a lot of hurt feelings on his part and frustration on ours. And this is another situation where I saw it coming, and I hoped getting ahead of it would help. But he was angry at me for my decision and for telling him. Mom's angry for both reasons as well. They said it was humiliating for him to be told so straightforwardly and to basically be demoted as not father of the bride. I told him I never demoted him because he never was father of the bride. He just wanted to be. He told me I should have made a bunch of different decisions. Am I the a-hole? And in case people ask, stepdad is not paying for the wedding or financing any part of it. It's your wedding. You're not an a-hole for wanting your dad to walk you, rather than your stepdad, especially since you're so close with your bio dad. It's your day. You get to choose how it goes. I could understand stepdad's point of view if he was the one who did everything OP mentioned her bio dad did whilst her bio dad did nothing, but to expect to have full father of the bride duties when bio dad has equal custody and is evidently going above and beyond to provide and be there for his daughter is simply ridiculous. As for the being angry that you told him ahead of time, he's shown himself to be a complete buffoon. As you know, he would have had a little hissy fit if he only found out on the day. Nothing to feel guilty about, OP. I read it as the opposite. Bio dad worked extra to be available to do the dad things, and did. Sounds like stepdad wants to be considered dad without having earned it. Not the a-hole, but it sounds like your mom is at least as responsible as he is for the friction between you and him. She likely created unreal expectations for their daughter-stepdad relationship, and her daughter never lived up to them in his eyes. To be fair, society does that as well. Step-parents have to love their step-kids as their own, etc., etc. So it's not remotely surprising he's continually hurt that the kids he loved and raised as his own don't see him as important in their lives. If he had preferred to just be Mom's boyfriend, he'd have gotten a different brand of turd sandwich from everyone. But in the end, it's still a turd sandwich. OP isn't an a-hole at all, but I definitely feel bad for the guy. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to change someone's baby's diaper? My wife and I have been married 10+ years and have a few kids. Sister-in-law and her husband had a baby 2 years ago. No major complaints. They just tend to ask people to do stuff that I would think they'd do themselves. They'll come over to our house, they live an hour away, and ask ahead of time if we have their kids' favorite crackers on hand. Why they don't just pack the crackers? I don't know. They are well off. Money's not an issue. If one of them leaves the room, they'll ask one of us, my wife or kids, to be in charge of the baby. Even if the other parent is right there, just scrolling on their phone or something. But whenever I say something to my wife, she says I'm being too much. The other day, we're having dinner at mother-in-law's house when the baby had a poopy diaper. Sister-in-law looks at me and says in the sweetest voice, "Uncle OP, can you change the diaper?" She frequently does this when we're there, but this was the first time I was asked. I answered politely, "No, I'm sorry, I don't do that." "You don't do diapers?" "No, I don't do other people's kids' diapers, if their mom or dad is around. I mean, if I'm babysitting, sure thing. But yeah, if the parents are around, I just feel like it's their job." Sister-in-law looks like she's ready to cry. Well, I feel selfish. I smiled to try and set her at ease. Not trying to make you feel any way, just telling you a boundary is all. The table got really awkward as she got up and did the diaper. Afterwards, my wife blamed me for making sister-in-law feel bad and said I could have just changed the diaper. Not trying to make anyone feel bad, but I've had 3 kids and I always took responsibility. I watched them, I packed for them, and I changed them. I'm not looking to be a secondary parent for this kid. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Your sister-in-law only felt bad because the obvious was pointed out to her. You said no when she asked you, then she pressed you further, trying to either guilt you into changing the diaper or make you look bad because you didn't want to change a poopy diaper. Right, she felt guilty, and addressing you as uncle was supposed to put the onus on you to feel obligated. She sounds like such a user. Not the a-hole. But then why didn't your wife step in and offer to change the diaper? That's right, because she doesn't want to do it either. You have a massive wife problem. She needs to shut this down with her family, not encourage it. If this happens again, I think he should tell sister-in-law he's sure his wife would be glad to change the diaper. Last story. Am I the a-hole for defending my husband to my ex in front of our kids? I, 33 female, am married to my husband James, 28 male. We got married a year ago, and I'm a couple of months pregnant. I have 2 daughters, 13 and 10, with my ex Trevor, 33 male. James is a teacher at our youngest daughter's school and taught her during his first year of teaching 3 years ago, right when Trevor and I broke up. He cheated on me. I hired James to tutor my daughter that summer, and he and I wound up dating and eventually marrying. He and Trevor are very different and do not get along. Although James tries, I can tell he doesn't like Trevor. Trevor is constantly making barbs at James for being not a real man, which I hate, but James lets it roll off him. Trevor has our daughters every other weekend, although he could have had them every other week if he'd wanted, but he said he was too busy. James has really become much more of a fixture to them as a father figure, and they absolutely love him, and he loves them. Sunday evening when Trevor and his current girlfriend were dropping them off, Trevor told them he was sorry they had to go from a house with a mom and dad to 2 moms, and I lost it with him. I told him he was projecting for not being able to take care of them, and that James proves every day he is more of a man and a better father than Trevor ever has been. My daughters were there, which they probably shouldn't have been, but I'm also so tired of them hearing Trevor just belittle James. Trevor just got really quiet and left, but since then, he, his girlfriend, and his mom have all been texting me, calling me an a-hole and a terrible mother for talking to him like that in front of our kids. Am I the a-hole? I mean, this falls into get hit. You hit him where it counts, his ego. Good on you for sticking up for your husband. Should you have done it in front of your kids? Probably not. But sometimes stuff happens. I think if anything, it shows them how to stick up for your partner. Not the a-hole. Trevor did it in front of the kids. He's an a-hole. I agree. Trevor thought it was okay to belittle James, so why not the same thing happening to him? Ask him what makes a real man, because one thing a real man does is make time for his kids. Sounds like he's really jealous of James though. Another thing a real man doesn't do is go cry to their mommy when someone is mean to them.